who says that it has a different effect based on which game board that you're in. That's right. Every single game that you queue up with Transfer Student, it does something differently. And so, Rami going with the X Factor, how do you know what I'll do if my deck doesn't even know what it's going to do until the game board loads? Yeah. I love that X Factor. And so let's go into game number 1. Looks like we're ready. We had a little bit of a technical hiccup, but I appreciate you all hanging out. This is the final game of the day, or final series of the day. After this series, we're going to play our top 4s starting from APAC tomorrow. And then just like that, TJ, the season will be a little bit less than a quarter done. It's kind of wild to think that. I feel like Jim just started, but it's
well for you it did just start.
It just started, but we're almost a quarter of the way through in just a little bit under a day. No Hands with this mulligan does not want to keep anything. Rami, it's arguable that you could maybe hold on to things like the Thorn Growth Sentries, but I think you want something a lot better than that. That's part of the issue with Token Druid, is that I think mulligan is like 80% of playing this deck well, and it's very hard if it doesn't go well for you.
Yep. Resizing pouch. I just talked about that. It's sick. So, yeah, resizing pouch. So it's discover a card, right? So it's not like Nature Studies where it's spells. It can give you a lot of junk, like minions that don't really do much. But knowing the card pool and knowing the possibilities increases the chances that you hit something good. And that's why I think the card is cool, because you can find those spots. Maybe not too big of a deal, but I think it obviously better in this situation. Rami's not going to play now because Bungle Fortune's on 2 after Nature Study. It's nuts, but it's also a 1-mana spell for the Gibberling. So that's another thing.
Oh, yeah. And he just drew the Gibberling. You love to see it, Rami fans. No Hands immediately queues up the Primordial Studies, finds an opportunity for any playable spell damage minion. I think Thaunos people like because it keeps up your hand economy by generating more resources and draw. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Do you want spell damage? Because you get it.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot of spell damage coming in.
All right, so one of the cool things about resizing pouch in this situation is you can use it with Gibberling to find Pounce. It can also find Lightning Bloom, Innervate. To just keep the chain rolling. There's a Combustion in hand, but that's a lot of minions. I don't know which one I like better. Guidance or the 1/1. They both develop a 1/1. All right, Wild Growth. Guardian Animals, get me out.
Yeah, Guardian Animals obviously does not have much application in a deck that is pretty much all spells and no minions. I guess I guess in niche scenarios, TJ, we might be able to see some playable cards, but Gibberling's not even a beast, so it does not matter.
Yeah.
No Hands immediately going for the Prison Phoenix, needs to clear off this board, recognizes that Pride's Fury is a big threat, Soul of the Forest is a big threat. And I think Rami can continue to press in here. The question is, what does he want to play exactly? Because you could justify a couple of different lines here.
Yeah. Everything that he can do this turn is weak to Devolving Missiles in some way. I guess, though, 1/1, what is it, a Marsupial? Something like that. I don't even know. Plus Power of the Wild is like the least. Playing into Devolving Missiles the least, because Pride's Fury does it a lot, and they both push the same amount of damage. But Pride's Fury, and then next turn being able to go the 1/1 plus Solar Power of the Wild, or just Arbor up, has merit as well. So a couple plays in that turn, but Pride's Fury is just the simplest, right? It pushes enough damage outside of Devolving Missiles. It makes your board the most resilient. So I like that.
Yes. I think that entire debate is what was the main portion of our caster practice this weekend. We meet up every week to try to play games. We end up playing this matchup for a long time because it was just very interesting with the kind of setups. And we saw many different lines and deviations from our original plans based off what you exactly described, which is like, how do you best play around the mage removal? And more importantly, like what can Druid do to, really maximize its burst while also being very diligent about pressuring the mage? Because if you don't pressure enough and you play too passively, then you just give mage the time that they need.
And they actually do have quite a bit of ways to interrupt your early board building with combustion, Cone of Cold, devolving missiles, brain freeze. As you can see, Solar Force is going to be played again, weak to devolving missiles, but everything he does is pretty much weak to devolving missiles. So you have to kind of pick your poison in that regard.
Exactly. Now he's coming up against the Prison Phoenix, finding the Cram Session off the top, allowing him to draw 3 cards this turn if he'd like.
He can draw even more. If he thinks he really needs to hit devolving missiles, then he's going to get the extra spell damage to draw cards. So we'll fill up his hand.
Yeah.
Rune Orb,
really
good.
like devolving missiles.
Brain Fuse, good. Apexis Blast, but no devolving missiles. So he can pick apart the board, but there's still going to be a board there. And the more minions he leaves up, Rami does have access to Innervate, Solar Eclipse, Arbor up next turn. Ooh, devolving missiles!
Hey. All right. I didn't even know my voice could hit that pitch.
It's not as good now. He might even want to wait a turn, but just having access to it is sick. The only reason to unleash it now would be if he wants to Mask of Cthulhu next turn. I actually think is what he needs to do. So yeah, he does need to get rid of it this turn, and this has been quite a good opening for NoHandsGamer, showing that Mage he still got it.
Whoa. Okay, but I mean, now Rami has a really powerful combo available through Solar Eclipse and Arbor Up, allowing him to double up on that spell. However, No Hand is ready for that with the Flame Strike.
Yep.
So this is the kind of dynamic that Rami has to weigh. He knows that there is that possibility of Flame Strike, but at the same time, how much do you respect it? This entire dynamic is what this matchup is predicated about. No Hands with the nod of the head. He was accounting for this. He knows it's a powerful board, but he is prepared, and I think this will be all she wrote. As soon as No Hands is able to deliver this Flame Strike, I mean, Rami's out of gas right there and then.
Yep.
And then that should be No Hands taking over the game.
Oof. Oh, yep. That's the face that I would make too, and a dead draw off the top. This one is over.
Very, very harsh game for Rami. It looked like he really tried to maximize his board strength, and quite frankly, I think that was the time to all in, because you by every draw that NoHandsGamer gets, being 17 cards deep, only 13 to go, increasing that likelihood that he's able to pick up that Flame Strike, which is a 1-of in the deck. I think the time was then that Rami had to pull the trigger. And unfortunately, this is what Mage's strength is, which is if you're able to give it a little bit of time, a little bit of that card draw engine going, why that Cram Session was huge. I mean, No Hands had so many looks at that Flame Strike. He already had it, so he didn't need to draw that many cards, but that's where Mage is at its best.
Yeah.
And from here...
You probably just Mask. Does that set up for 2-turn lethal? It would have... it's got to.
Absolutely. Second Solarian is also perfectly fine if he wants. Can play that, play the Mask of Cthulhu, kill everything, pressure, have the Fireball and the Apexis Blast ready to go on the following turn. It is lights out from this perspective. Mask of Cthulhu is a lot of times comparable to what people say is Pyroblast for 7 mana, but you can get it for 6 with spell damage. Rami can't do anything. That's going to be a concede, I believe, in just a second here. NoHandsGamer is going to improve to a 1-0 score. Oh, Rami, go ahead, play the cards anyways. So moving forward, I mean, the Token Druid in this matchup, we're kind of talking about has some game plan, but against the other decks, that's definitely something for Rami to think about, is he wants to queue up the Druid, because we've been seeing a lot of Druid struggle in this exact position, TJ. And that's where I'm afraid, right? And Rami banned the Druid from NoHandsGamer. Well, NoHandsGamer was like, bring it on.
Yep. And realizing that he does have a little bit more favorable matchups, a little less respect for the deck as well. Even though he brought it. But the mage, I think, is the big difference maker because you can see just how much potent early game removal they can do and how they can dismantle even the biggest of token druid boards. But it does live on a knife's edge, right? Because let's say he doesn't pick up devolving missiles in that instance. That would have been a lot of damage that was pushed with the Arbor up, and even Flame Strike may not have been able to clear off everything. But it was a nice showing from the deck, even without Deck of Lunacy. And that's what you like to see. I'd like to see Mage continue to live in the metagame because I do think that it is still a potent deck without Lunacy. But back to the drawing board for Rami. He's still got to find a win with Token Druid if he wants to win this series. And still has not the greatest of matchups because I think that No Hands Paladin deck actually, as long as it gets a decent opening, can fight quite hard against Token Druid as well.
Yeah, you know, without Penflinger, it's definitely a little bit trickier, but it still has a lot of game plan. And it feels like we've even refined the decks a little bit more. I do like No Hands' like flair to it. He's playing like the Underlight Angling Rod in his Paladin deck, which I appreciate. But we'll see if he picks that. For now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what Rami has on deck. TJ, it's that transfer student deck. He's got the broomstick. He's got his Ogre Master. He's got a lot of fun stuff packed in here. Break it down for me.
Okay, so I was very curious. So I messaged Rami before the match. I was like, okay, what's the deal with the Rogue? So it's inspired by a deck from Raze that was basically like an OTK spell Rogue. I don't think it was a true OTK Rogue, but able to deal lots of damage with the Sinister Strikes plus Wicked Stabs. And because it can draw through its deck so quickly with field contact and the reductions from Octobot, it actually hits pretty much its entire deck by turn 10 quite often. Kind of similar to the Alexstrasza package with Tenwu, just much more, I want to say flexible. It can just happen a lot earlier in the game if you manage to get early board presence and damage. And the transfer students are very interesting because transfer student, in asking him which one's the best one, he said the best one is probably the Barons board, the Force in the Barons board, because the transfer student on that board gives you a random ranked spell, and there's actually ranked spells that do actually give you burst combos, right? You could still get Wicked Stab. You can get the Fury, right? The Demon Hunter one that just gives you straight up damage. That's the most flexible, as well as the Skullomance Academy board, which gives you a dual class spell. Which there's a lot of good dual class spells. Not much burst from them, but ones that have a lot of flexibility. There's like Frost Whisper. There's Brain Freeze. I'm just naming Mage and Rogue ones, but you know those just happen to be the best, right? So the Corrupt one is not as good, right? Which is this board. It's Corrupt, gain +2/+2.
He didn't keep either of them, TJ.
I mean, they're just vanilla 4/4s that you have to corrupt. That's not that great. They are battle cries. One of the things that Rami said is he wanted a 2-drop that's a battle cry that can just be played on 2 in a lot of situations outside of Octobot, because Octobot is really the only 2-drop in the deck. You could argue you could just play Foxy Fraud, but again, that's not as flexible, whereas Transfer Student is, in most situations, on most boards, is just a play it on 2 and get something.
Yeah, it's also way less fun to play Foxy Fraud than it is Transfer Student.
Yeah.
Definitely going
funny
for the
though that
swag
you play a
factor.
card in your deck that you don't know what it's going to do until you're actually in the game.
It could be anything, even a Transfer Student.
Yeah.
Okay. Jokes aside, we're in game. Pretty slow start on both ends. Rami is looking for a 2-drop, didn't find it. The corrupted board, not really working out great. That being said, when it's a slow start like this, and NoHandsGamer is about to ramp up in power, Rami needs to get out to a quick start. And I think it looks like his first minion, his good minion development play would be Ogremancer. That's still a turn away. So what does Rami end up going for here?
I just draw cards, right? I can go with Thera, Augment Merchant, Swindle, Thera, Augment Merchant, Wand Thief. Probably Swindle just to get through his deck, more mana efficient.
Makes sense to me. Picks up more damage. I mean, that's one thing about Rami's deck. It feels like a very good mixture of burst as well as making sure that he's playing for tempo. Finds 2 Silverleaf Poisons, so he gets to draw 2 cards a turn if he so desires. You can also just go ahead and space things out with the Swindle. Just make sure that he's drawing even more cards, even more poisons. Rami does have a Acidic Swampoos in the deck, though.
Yep.
So no hands has to be careful not to all in on this.
Yeah, and Ogremaster's hard to deal with, for sure. But I've seen players deal with Ogremaster and still win, especially with the start like this, where No Hands has already drawn a good amount of cards, had Swindle and Silverleaf Poison ramped up, has a weapon. It's just needs to find a way to deal the damage. Apothecary Helbram is a minion, so that can help. It's another Silverleaf Poison, which actually isn't that good because he's going to start running into hand space issues, which seems awkward. It seems like you don't run hand space issues. You want all your cards, but it's the truth. Because if he stacks it all on one weapon, draws 3 cards every time he attacks, and has cutting classes and swindles in his deck, he won't be able to dump enough.
It's all true. It's all true. Okay, this is a really important turn for Rami. I think that this could end up defining how the rest of the game pans out. Gonna go ahead and start with Secret Passage. That was not what I was expecting as the first play. What is he looking for, TJ?
He's looking for a way to kill the Apothecary without having to damage his Ogremaster, but he had the Wicked Stab in hand already.
What's that Shadow Step, if he wanted to as well?
Also had Shadow Step. I guess he was looking for card plus prize plunder. That is a 2/2. And now his Ogremaster is dead.
Yeah. Okay, it did not work out super well for Rami. Like you were talking about, he had Wicked Stabs. The reason why I like the Shadow Step is because he also had 2 of them, and they're kind of awkward unless you want to like maximize value through the Kazakis in this situation. A lot of redundancy in the hand. Now No Hands can just kill off the Ogremaster and resume business as usual.
Yeah. Well, right now he's got to worry about hand space. He's going to draw a poison, and then he's going to draw a card. So he will burn a card because it does have a Silverleaf Poison attached to it. Let's see what it is.
Yeah. Okay, not a huge deal. And I think maybe people might cite like an order thing, but I think that this actually ends up being okay because he still would end up drawing cards, especially with the amount of poisons that he would be playing. So I think this ends up being oh my gosh. Poison off the Wand Maker.
Dan, I'm calling it now.
No shot! Get out of here! What?
This game is incredibly over. This one is. Let's just move on to the next one. Deck's cool. Transfer Student's cool. This just wasn't his board, right? That's another thing about Transfer Student. You got the Johns for days. That wasn't my board, right? Okay, Moonfang.
Yeah.
Cool.
That thing will not die.
No Hands has double Cloak of Shadows. I honestly think he could just poison, hit face, Cloak of Shadows. Next turn, hit face, Cloak of Shadows. And then the next turn, hit face, and that's lethal.
Yeah, this is what the Kingsbane Rogue successor looks like in modern form. And it is so nasty when you don't draw your 6 Swampoos. Which I think, now that I'm analyzing it, watching how this planned out, I'm pretty sure that was what Rami was going for. I think he Secret Passage and said, my chance to win.
You're right.
Yeah, if I stop this right now. It was a little bit obscure because I think it just took us... So it just took us by surprise that he immediately went for the Secret Passage. But like having watched this panned out, I can totally get behind this reasoning that he needed to find the ooze, otherwise he'd be in trouble because he is in big trouble now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, because that would have been the best way to protect his Ogremancer, would have been getting rid of the weapon, and he had the added bonus of if he hits like prize plunder at the same time, it could take out the apothecary. That's definitely what he was looking for. It wasn't that high of odds though, since he still had 18 cards left in deck, and Secret Passage draws 4. So it's like a between 1 and 4 and 1 and 5 to hit the single copy of Ooze, but maybe he thought that was his best chance to win the game. That makes a lot more sense, and I agree with the play a lot more now that you pointed that out. I just completely forgot about the Ooze. So
wait, DJ, how much damage does Rami have? Hold on a second.
Wait a second.
He has 2 wicked
11,
stabs,
12, 18?
and a Sinister Strike.
There's no direct damage from Wand Thief. Ruined Orb. Nope, he can't do it. Doesn't have the mana. He's really close. He is really close.
So close. Maybe chance gets like 2 trampling rhinos? Attack 2 plus 2 attack and Wind Fury? That's a lot of damage.
So that's 6 plus 5, 11 plus a Sinister Strike, 14. Wicked Step, 18. It's still 18.
Well, actually, he only has 1 charge of his Wicked.
Yeah, but I counted that. It's 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ice Barrier.
He can't cast it. Oh, but he got the taunt.
Okay. I like this. He has to find a way to get taunts. Wow, Rami found an out.
Yeah, but now the Cloak of Shadows are going to start rolling.
Yeah.
Actually, that's just lethal with
Coerce. Yeah. We were so focused on it, but overall, a valiant effort that did not pay off any dividends, and NoHandsGamer up 2-0. Wow, what an interesting game, because Rami, like, I don't even know necessarily if that was the situation he was setting up for, which was like thinking about, like clearly he played Jandice and he had all his bursts in his hand. That's what he was thinking about. But like, had he took a little bit more of an aggressive line instead of the Secret Passage, which didn't really do much, maybe that end up would have been the damage that he would have made up anyway. So a couple of really good ideas from Rami. Like, quite frankly, I think that this was a winnable game, even though it looked unwinnable at one point. And I think like that he was just 1 or 2 detours away from being able to find a dub, but unfortunately it did not go his way.
Yeah, that was. I mean, he was a trumpeting rhino away from that Jandice from lethal. Like, if that's exactly in our Storm Crash, trampling rhino, then that would have been enough for lethal. That's insane. Damn. It's so much damage from his hand. I wasn't even looking at it because I was like, he's at 20. He didn't even play Cloak of Shadows. He was that confident. He was like, you're gonna kill me. Come on.
Yeah.
He almost did. Kind of crazy. But now he's down 2-0, and it's the Paladin deck left. And while I don't think this Paladin is like the best thing in the world, it is creative. With 1 day of practice after the nerfs, NoHands, I think, settled on something quite cool. The Red Scale Dragon Tamer with both Alexstrasza and Onyx Mage Scribe in the deck, putting a Tyrion in the top end for additional reach that can also be fetched by Tail and Forging if Alexstrasza is already in the hand. It's just kind of cool, and it also has like the aggressive secret package with both Conviction and Crab Rider to threaten early. So it's kind of this cool secret mid-range deck that can kill you from hand at any step of the game if you leave minions up, which is pretty insane. All right, I can work with this opening hand from Rami. I can dig it.
Doable. And, I think that's one step at a time, right? Do not worry too much about winning the series. Just focus on beating the Paladin with this rogue. NoHands starting off with the Galloping Savior. We saw Secret Paladin do quite some work last time from Tincho, which ended up being a very close series, which I believe Luna during the break was like, tweeting about how she felt like she made a big mistake against the Secret Paladin, and some of the, playing around the secrets can be tricky in some of these scenarios. We'll see if Rami is dialed in and if No Hands can continue to finish it off. A couple of pretty weak one drops off the first day of school. Looks like Efficient Octobot will feast on anything that gets played here. At least be able to activate its frenzy.
Yep, and will be able to. No Hands wisely going to attack into Octobot first to not give Rami the opportunity to get the card off the top discounted, as well as maybe even draw cards before that happens. But turn 2 Mankrik. That's stuff right there.
That absolutely is.
Word that it is not Oh My Yogg. Well, he got word last turn because it was played on 1 and then he coined, so.
Knight of Anointment draws one of the holy spells, and there's the conviction that we were talking about and so elusively avoided coming into the hand all game long for Tincho. So this is just a very systematic build the board from Paladin. This is what the class identity is, just a bunch of small swarms of stuff, unless you're trying to build up big boards. Now, Rami picks up a second Efficient Octobot. But at this point, his hand is not even really worth discounting.
No. I mean, he could use it just with, like, Broomstick to start rushing in, but I kind of just like Dagger here and trimming the board down to 1, Dagger into the 2-1, and then trade over one of the 1-1s.
What do you think about Shadow Stepping Mankrik?
The awkward part about Shadow Stepping Mankrik is he just got the news that it's not Avenge. He knows that's Galloping Savior. If you Shadow Step, you're going to be wanting to play something else, which means you're kind of pigeonholing yourself into playing those three cards and playing into Galloping Savior. Yeah,
well, it's just 2 cards then, right?
Well, you just Mankrik and then Shadow Step the Mankrik. I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, I think there's some merit to it, yeah, but I think it feels better.
I don't think it's particularly very good, but I think that losing the board versus the Paladin player in this spot, oh, jeez. Talking about
if you're right,
bad draw.
If your next draw is going to be Shadow Step, then yes, you want to Shadow Step that Mankrik. It would have paid off a lot because then he could Shadow Step it again this turn.
What is the water for some of these Argentinian players, TJ? What's going on with some of the draws today?
At least extreme. No Hands has picked up a prize vendor, which will also draw Rami a card. So there's the bright side. That's if No Hands even plays it, because if he senses that Rami's hand is incredibly weak, he's just not going to play it.
That's true. He might be giving something for Rami to do.
Ooh.
Okay. Night Watch, or North Watch Commander, excuse me. He has a healthy work-life balance, does not work past his shift.
We'll fight back these
Yep. Okay. Zamicus.
I like this read, to not play the prize vendor because he knows. It's not really a feel. It's like he knows the rogue hand is pretty awful. He discounted all the cards. He's gonna discard it twice, and then he already saw that on turns 3 and 4 there was nothing. Right? He paused for a long time, daggered, did nothing. That's like a clear indication that the hand is bad.
Let me think.
And did it twice. Now, is it worth playing anything else, or would you want a hero power, knowing that this Octobot will get another discount anyways?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is just hero power. Galloping Savior, Oh My Yogg are the 2 secrets. They were both played from hand. I guess Slushwater Scout Prize Vendor gives him the ability to go for a swing turn next turn. Maybe expecting like field contact plus other things to come up. All right, dual class card. Let's go. Ganling.
Okay, Ganling. A way for him to generate value off his small minions.
Is that just sick with Animated Broomstick? Because if he gets more minions, he can Ganling, minion, broom.
Right.
Gives it rush
now.
And then.
Yeah.
Oh, he can display it now. I was thinking again. He can play it now.
Well,
he's gonna play into galloping. Oh nope, that is an Oh My Yog. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Oh My Yog. So that he first has to identify what's this going to be.
Pounce. Interesting.
That works. Helps him get past.
Yep.
Needs to go fast though because he's running out of time. He's pretty much pot committed at this point.
Yeah,
I say you throw everything in. We're all in. Like, this is not really a matter of whether or not you feel like you can conserve your resources.
That turn was sick.
It was a sick turn.
Transfer student is nuts.
That was nuts, indeed. I can't disagree with that there. Not to mention gambling is like to survive, so if Rami picks up other small minions, you know, like a prize plunderer, that actually ends up becoming a pretty relevant threat. He somehow found a way to play Quest Rogue.
Because the minions in his deck all have battle cries, and they get their battle cries and then just turn into bigger minions.
Yeah.
Looking for Lifesteal Deal 2, Lifesteal Summon a Copy.
Yeah.
I don't even know which one's better. He's going to be taking a lot of damage regardless. Let's take a look at the secret that's pulled. It is Noble Sacrifice that's pulled. Forgot he even played that in his deck.
Yeah, you do see the odd Noble Sack. Oh my gosh, the Prophecy, TJ.
I mean, is it worth it to just play it as... I guess
Yes.
so.
A 1-mana 4/4 is not fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what he has to decipher is what the secret is, right?
Yeah.
He attacks.
For Noble Sack.
Yep, sees it. Soul Shear, move on. And
Gets
the
to
all-in
Soul
push
Shear.
continues.
What is this deck? Oh, it's so cool. I think you want to kill this. I'm pretty sure you just want to keep the board clean. You're pushing another 8 damage. You have lethal represented on board.
Yes. We are committed, and he's got him down to 10 hit points.
The Golem is not an immediate impact Golem. He wasn't offered rush or damage. He did have the option of freeze, but I don't think he took the freeze option.
Oh, man.
Did he take the freeze option? Did he take taunt?
Yes.
Lifesteal freeze. Okay.
He got the freeze option. Really good foresight. Recognizes that he's in a bad spot.
All right.
Okay.
A lot of outs for lethal. Sinister Strike.
Yeah. Wicked
Secret
Stab.
Passage would be great. Kazakus wouldn't be able to, but he could find like 1-mana Poisonous Golem. Jandis could be big.
Let me think.
It's a lot of possibilities
Stab.
here. Rami do this. Now, even if Rami doesn't win right here, it's still a bad spot for NoHandsGamer. Oh, dead draw.
Well, it's a 4/4. Everything's a 4/4.
Does he want to acknowledge this golem? He says, go straight to the dome.
Yep. We'll push. Going into 8 mana. Couple punishes. Double
Whoa.
12.
Double conviction.
18, 19. He has 19 damage.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of burst. The double conviction buff giving him a ton of power. And more importantly, he can just like stabilize the board state.
Yeah.
Because the golem will likely double dip. And he has like that second Noble Sacrifice pulled. Yep, conviction. I mean,
and Oh My Yog. So Oh My Yog will prevent a top deck. So this is actually, I think, a pretty good position.
Wow. Wow. I am floored here. Rami can't believe it.
Rami's like, am I dead?
I mean, it's again where he's like 2 damage off lethal, and it feels like it's slipping through his grasp, and now no. 2 turn, he's pushing.
Wait, no. Now he's dead.
Oh, he has Noble Sack, right? It's as close as it gets. This is very close, but he's not.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There's 13 damage showing, but Noble Sack is up. Wait, Noble Sacrifice is not up. No, it's.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, it's not. He didn't pull it out. That's just represented on board. That's 12. Yeah, he just died.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Oh My God and Avenge.
Oh, jeez. I was under the impression that it was Noble Sacrifice. He has 2 in his deck. He did not have it, and Rami just wins an uncharacter-like mistake from NoHandsGamer because he just could have traded onto the board. I understand his thought process, right? Which is like setting up a 2-turn lethal, or at least like, you know, keeping his minion alive and pressuring when he had that damage. A mistake, but you know, one that potentially could give the opening that Rami needed, right? Like we look back at that game, TJ, and I gotta say once more that this line that Rami took was just awesome. The transfer student really showing you some clutch scenarios. It felt very improvisational, to be frank. Like obviously he did not plan for this, but I mean he made the best with what he was dealt with.
Yeah, and it was cool, right? That's not often that you get to see games like that. Usually these rogue games all kind of feel a little bit similar, but that one definitely did not. It's not often they have that board state. And yeah, if he just trades over Ganling there and trades over a 4-4, he has Alex Straza the next turn to like fully stabilize. He's alive by a lot, has Oh My Yag Avenge. I understand his thought process because I think he calculated that Rami was 1 damage off lethal, right? Maybe exactly how we did. And if Rami doesn't want to trade because it's lifesteal, but doesn't want to go all face because then he dies on the backswing. So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't situation that he would have put him in, assuming Rami was 1 damage off lethal, but he just miscounted. And you're right, an uncharacteristic mistake. No hands usually doesn't do that, but now has to put it behind him because still has to find a win with the Paladin. Now it's going to be up against Token Druid. I do like this matchup for this Paladin. Just because they have so many board tricks early, it can sometimes be tough for Token Druid to even develop a board, but there are opportunities to do so. It kind of feels like you need to build a board in a burst, because if you try and do incremental things, that's where the Paladin shines, because they're disrupting you turn after turn with their secrets. No Hands just has, that's a pretty good start. He can actually just Conviction next turn, and then Righteous Protector to protect it and just start pushing 8.
I love it. I want to see that. I want to see some aggression come out. The Crab Rider is like low-key one of the strongest 2-drops in the game. I've been playing a decent amount of the Frenzy Warrior that's been out there with a lot of rush, and it is quite the force in that deck as well. So, you know, especially if you can get to get buffed in any capacity. Oh, he's just going to do this and the... is he going to do the Galloping Savior instead? He's like kind of hesitating as if he doesn't necessarily want to play the Righteous Protector. Okay. I like it. And that's just because you know that the Druid likes to go for big swing turns, and so you can have a bigger minion invested. Not to mention it messes with Rami's head, right, with Oh My Yag. Yeah. Pests does not see it. Rami is a little bit annoyed. He's kind of hoping to see Oh My Yag.
Oh, jeez.
Now he can't play whatever third card he wants to anyways. Burned and Innervate. And now 8 more coming upstairs.
Yep.
With more Crab Riders.
Yeah, and then next turn he could set up Avenge, and then he has to get through the Righteous Protector to kill a Crab Rider. But then if Avenge is up, then it's guaranteed another Crab Rider. Rami's just going to die. He's got 8, 9, 10, 11 damage represented next turn.
Rami might be dead. Like, just straight up dead. Because his board building doesn't exist. He uses Innervate, and he doesn't have the ability to play Glowfly Swarm this turn now. So, what do? Lunar Eclipse? And, I don't know, Nature Studies? Or I'm not exactly sure what he can do. Okay, build up the board. Oh no, now he's at that juncture where he recognizes that there might be the Galloping Savior activated, so he hero powers, tries to set up the trade so that NoHandsGamer would have to go through manually, finds a weapon.
Oh, that is huge.
And Rami's setup for
massive.
defense is not going to work out. A really nice spot from Rami, but it's not going to pay off.
Then Felpin and Navigator. Just in case he needed a little bit more Crab Rider insurance. That's funny. And
I mean, this is looking really tough. You have to find a way to get some spell damage or some way to eliminate that 4-1. Does not find it. And
he's dead. No Hands knows.
Yeah.
Yep, he knows. He's smiling. Yeah.
It has to be another lunar eclipse, I think, if he has it. Does not find it. Wow. I was not expecting a turn 5 victory. Wait, Rami, does he find an opportunity with
nope.
his guidance?
Nope.
Oh, no, wave goodbye. No hands. He knows that Rami can go out kicking and screaming all he wants.
There's like no Druid removal anymore. They have like no spells that just deal damage outside of Lunar Eclipse.
But it doesn't matter.
He can't, yeah. He would need a Spirit Path. He would need it if he hit Lunar Eclipse and Thorn Growth sentries and was able to Lightning Bloom, Thorn Growth sentry, but then Avenge. No, because he still would have most likely been dead in those scenarios. And wow, turn 2 Crab Rider, or turn 1 Crab Rider, turn 2 Conviction just wins games. There you go.
I mean, more importantly, it just goes to show you some of these decks' proactive game plan with things like Crab Rider. If your deck does not have honest checks to that, and why there's been a rise in prominence of people playing decks to try and make sure that they can survive that early game checkpoint, just goes to show you how things can get out of control way too quickly. This was a turn 5 victory from NoHandsGamer, and had Rami not drawn other cards to help stabilize, I mean, NoHandsGamer was in a likely position to close out even if he lost his primary threat, right? Because he had